Do you have a clear vision of what you want, but not sure how to make it happen? Then you might just love this week's business book review, Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. It's a book that says if you struggle to figure out how to accomplish your goals, you're focusing on the wrong question, and instead should be asking who knows how to accomplish those goals and then recruit them to your cause. Now, this central concept, I wholeheartedly agree with it. It's a powerful mindset shift, which is why it almost pains me to give this book only a 2 out of 5 head tilts. You're probably thinking, wait, if you love the core idea so much, why only a 2 out of 5? Well, stick around, okay? I will get to that in a moment, and I'll break down exactly why I landed on that rating, and I'll stick by it. But first, let me say this. If the idea of prioritizing who can help you achieve your goals before you get bogged down in how resonates with you, well then, you know what? You might find this book incredibly valuable. You might even see it as a 5 out of 5. In fact, I think Who, Not How could be a significant shift for entrepreneurs currently navigating that wilderness phase of their journey. You know, that stage where you're just wearing way too many hats, you're bogged down in the day-to-day hows of your business. If that sounds familiar, understanding the who could be the key to breaking free. And speaking of breaking free and finding the right resources for your specific stage of entrepreneurial growth, listen, check out my business book scorecard. It is a free Q&A that takes just a few minutes. And at the end, you're going to get a ranking on where you're at in the entrepreneurial journey and a custom curated list of the top 10 books for you based upon where you're currently at. You know, the reality is all books, including this one, could be a 5 out of 5 if you read them at the right time in your business development. Why waste time reading books that don't apply to you? I've already sorted through over 500 business books to share with you the top 10 books that apply directly to you. It's fast, it's free, and the link is inside the description of this video. Now, back to the abysmal score of 2. Why? 2 main reasons. First, Dan didn't write the book. Not a word of it. And the author acknowledges that right up front. He says, and I quote, "The originator of the Who, Not How framework and primary author of this book, Dan Sullivan, didn't write one word you're about to read. He didn't even see the book until it was almost done. And even then, his notes were short and I took only some of them." Ben Hardy wrote the book, and I think for Dan to put his name as the main author of a book that he had little to no input on is disingenuous at best, and maybe even an abuse of his authority or prestige within his organization, especially since the concept for this book is anything but original. The book doesn't provide a specific formula that Dan developed on how to find and enroll the right people to help you get your goal, despite the subtitle for the book being "The Formula to Achieve Bigger Goals Through Accelerating Teamwork." There is no formula in the book, or at least if there was, it wasn't clearly articulated. Had this book given insights into Dan's proprietary methodology that he created, then shared with Ben to do the heavy lifting, well, then maybe I'd be on board with him being the main author. Instead, the book is just one story after another about how somebody found a who to help them achieve an outcome, which is the second reason why it gets a low score. This is one of those books that fits into that category of a book that could have been a page. There just isn't much meat on the bone. One thing I did appreciate was the summary at the end of each chapter. You could literally just read those chapter summaries and save a lot of time from reading all the stories. Now, despite this pretty harsh criticism, there were some nice nuggets in the book, all available in the summaries, I might add. And here are a few that I enjoyed. As you engage in relationships, you expand your efficacy as a person. Your efficacy is your ability to produce results, and it's based on the resources you have to put toward those results. Money avoids the person who doesn't value their time. Don't twist yourself out of shape to be attractive to people you don't want to work with. Always test your ideas on check writers. If you have enough money to solve a problem, you don't have a problem. I feel this book oversimplifies a very complex reality. Achieving big goals, especially in business, is rarely a neat, straightforward process. It's often messy. To suggest that it's just about who, not how, risks creating unrealistic expectations. In my experience, it's far more nuanced. It's often who before how. And this book even admits it, by the way, without directly saying so. I'll prove it. Here are 3 of the 11 chapter titles: How to Be a Good Who for Others, How to Avoid Wrong Who's, even highly attractive ones, and How to Create Effective Collaborations. The truth is, even if you successfully recruit a team of who's to help you, Then you have a team to manage and lead. And while you might delegate management, true leadership requires you to empower and develop those around you. That involves understanding the hows of inspiration, accountability, and even interpreting key business information like P&Ls, balance sheet, and statement of cash flows. The how of leadership remains crucial regardless of how many tasks you delegate. Now, knowing the significant and well-deserved following that Dan Sullivan has built with his coaching empire, I anticipate some pretty strong reactions to this, and I welcome that. Listen, please understand, my critique isn't directed at Dan's overall impact, but specifically at the oversimplification presented in this particular book and the fact that he put his name on the book as the author when he in fact was not. And listen, and I get it, a lot of people hire ghostwriters to create their books, but that isn't this. A ghostwriter extracts the knowledge and experience that you have inside and then organizes those thoughts into prose, of which you then come back and provide a lot of input on. Dan didn't do any of that. This book is Ben Hardy's creation. It didn't come from Dan. And as an author myself, listen, I know how hard it is to write a book. And for Dan to just rock up and stick his name on a book that he had so little to do with, I feel is an offense to real authors and, frankly, a massive disrespect to Ben, even if he did agree to the terms. Now, if you do read Who Not How, I'd genuinely be interested to hear what aspects resonated most with you in the comments below. But honestly, are you going to be able to come up with anything other than find the right who to do it for you? Because that's the content of this book. If you found this review helpful, I'd be honored if you'd hit the like button and subscribe. That way, when I've created another review, you'll be one of the first to know. Until next time, let's both try a little harder to be a little better. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch that book review. If you liked it, I think you might like this one as well. Check it out.